What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Countdown Scouting Network. I'm your host, Joey Garcia, and today we are doing another episode of the 2024 Summer Scouting. And today's going to be tight end. So there's a good amount of tight ends in this class that I think will be very valuable in the NFL this year. So let's go ahead and get to it. All right, so starting out with my number 5, I have Brant Kuth, the Utah tight end. He's 6'2", 225 pounds, so he's kind of more of just a big slot. He really is a pure receiver. If you remember last year, it was him and Dalton Kincaid who got drafted in the first round by the Buffalo Bills. They were, honestly the number one or number two best tight end tandem in the league, and then he ended up getting hurt and he missed almost the whole year last year. So hopefully he comes back. I believe it was a knee injury. Hopefully he can come back from that. But he's not a guy who you're going to use as an inline tight end or someone that you're going to use blocking. He's really a big slot. That's what he's going to be used as. He moves really well. He runs routes well. He really runs routes like a wide receiver. And his run after catch is really good because he just bounces off tacklers. He's got good body control in contested catch situations, jump balls. He can spin his body around and make some really hard catches. He makes them look easy. The only problem is, what's his speed going to be like? I don't think he's the speediest guy. And again, you can't use him in line, so he's kind of a tweener. He's only 6'2". He's only 225 pounds. If he's 6'2", 235, 245, that's one thing. If he's 6'5", 230, that's another thing. He's just kind of small, but he's a good enough wide receiver where if you need a big slot, I think this is someone who you can utilize in that position. All right, here's another one. This one, not that much tape on, to be honest. Jatavion Sanders from Texas. He is an okay athlete. He's 6'4", 250 pounds, and really, you just kind of can use him as a red zone threat right now. He does well on those big 50-50 balls. He's got natural hands to him. He runs good routes. He's going to be another guy who's just living as a big slot to start out. And then hopefully, as you get a little bit more meat on his bones, he gets a little bit more fundamental strength. You can use him as an inline blocker as well. But he's a guy who can block nickel defenders. He's a guy who can chip block for you. But other than that, I wouldn't ask him to block in line. I'd ask him to stand up in the slot and block whoever's in front of him, go up to safeties, block that kind of stuff. Again, he's not the greatest athlete. He's a fine athlete, but that's about it. He's just an average athlete as a tight end. So I put him on here because he has good hands, and you'll always need guys that have good hands and can run pretty good routes. He's an underneath guy. Maybe you run him up the seam, but really I'm keeping him as an underneath guy to start out, and that's about it. My next guy is Jaheim Bell. He's at Florida State right now. He transferred over from South Carolina. He's super versatile. 6'3", 235 pounds. So again, his body type is a little bit of a tweener if you're just asking for him to be a tight end. But this is a guy who started his career as a linebacker, then came over to tight end. Last year he played tight end, he played fullback, and he played halfback. I believe there was a 3-game stretch where he was their halfback and got like 45 carries, and he did fairly well at that. So he's more of an H-back, I think, than he is a pure tight end, but you can move him all around this team. He's a team player. He does anything you would ask as a coach. If you asked him to go play safety, he would go line up at safety. He's got effort on every single play, and you can tell he just loves the game of football. His run after catch is really good. I think you can hand him off the ball on jet sweeps. You can hand it off to him up the middle. You can really get dynamic with him. He's not going to be a good blocker unless you maybe have him as a move tight end where you can kick out guys. But if you're just asking him to go one-on-one with the defensive end, it's not going to end very well. So that's something that's really the one thing I have against him. But just don't put him in that situation. He'll be your move tight end, and you'll have a guy that can block for you as well. So Jaheim Bell is a guy I really liked. I was hoping he went to Florida. He ended up going to Florida State. And Mike Norvell is bringing in a lot of transfers. You'll see a lot of transfers on the summer scouting list, I think. So I'm looking forward to seeing um, what they do during the season this year as well. All right, my number 2 guy, I was contemplating, do I put him on here? Do I put him on the wide receivers list? I don't know. Syracuse has him listed as a tight end, so I put him on the tight ends list. So it's Oronde Gadsden, the second from Syracuse. Yes, he is the son of Oronde Gadsden that played in the NFL a while back. He is 6'5", 220 pounds. Right now he's a big slot, and I think that's really all he's ever going to be. You can play him on the outside. You can play him in the slot. So he's a big body wide receiver. Why do they call him a tight end? I don't really know. He doesn't line up in line. He's always on the outside. So in spread systems, sure, he can be a tight end, but he's just a big wide receiver. I put him in here just because that's what they had him as. So I felt obligated to. But he's got really good hands. His catch radius is enormous, and that's really it. He's good with contested catches. His routes are fine. He can run from the outside. He can run from the inside, but he's not going to blow you away. He doesn't have great speed. He doesn't have great route running where he can make separation. But it really truly doesn't matter because his arms are so dang long. So it's going to be interesting to see how people utilize him at the next level. But I think he can have success because of his traits and his pure size. The last one, of course, everyone's number 1 tight end, or at least, well, I believe everyone's number 1 tight end is Brock Bowers. He's the tight end from Georgia. He's 6'4", 230 pounds. And again, it's a lot of these tight ends are smaller tight ends. You haven't seen any of these tight ends that are really good blockers on this list because I really couldn't find too many of them. He's a bigger body receiver, but he is an aggressive, strong-handed, contested catch machine. He's a good athlete as well. He runs good routes. He runs routes kind of like a wide receiver. You can put him in as an H-back. He ran a lot of jet sweeps at Georgia and ran that with success. His blocking ability on chip blocks is fine. Going up to linebackers is good. If he's going up against a defensive back, he wins that matchup almost every single time. And he looks like a guy who likes blocking, and he runs downfield to try to get second blocks whenever he can and help out his teammates. So that's always a plus. But having him go one-on-one with a defensive end, having him go one-on-one with a linebacker who's lined up in front of him, sometimes they get the best of him. He puts a lot of effort into it, but right now with his size, he's not there. I think he could get there. You know, if you put another 10 pounds, I think at 240 pounds with his effort, I think he can be an all right blocker. Right now at 230 pounds, he's really just a strong receiver. So let's get into a couple of these honorable mentions. We'll start at the bottom of the list with Arik Gilbert. He is at Nebraska this year. He was at LSU. I think actually he started at LSU, and then he transferred to Florida, and then he was only at Florida for a few days, and then he went to Georgia last year, and then he sat out the year at Georgia and never played, and now he's transferred to Nebraska. So he's a guy who's been all over the place in college football, and we really haven't gotten to see him play very much, but everyone says he's an elite athlete. He's one of the best tight ends you'll see athletically and with the ability. It's just school is kind of a problem for him and also staying out of trouble. So I'm hoping at Nebraska he can't find too much trouble. He gets on the field and he balls this year, and we'll end up having him get drafted and see him in the NFL. But he's just a guy who you really haven't gotten to see. He hasn't gotten much playing time because of his off the field and school issues. So it's a little bit of a shame. I'm hoping he has a comeback this year and we get to see him. The next guy, Iowa tight end, of course. You always have an Iowa tight end on these lists. Eric All, he's, again, kind of a traditional Iowa tight end. They block their butts off. He runs fairly good routes. He's got good hands, and he's just a guy who's Iowa through and through, honestly. He's a guy who's going to get you the tough yards and really block his butt off. So I think they put something in that Iowa Gatorade or something, because all these tight ends and all these linemen are really fundamentally strong and really know how to block. So the last guy we'll get to is Sado Torre. Seydou Touré, I believe is how you say his name. He's at Colorado right now. He transferred to Colorado. I believe it was from USF maybe. He transferred in from a smaller school, and now he's at Colorado. And he's really just a bigger. Oh, it was Arkansas State. That's what it was. I see it on the picture now. He transferred in from Arkansas State, and he's really a big receiver. He's super athletic. He's got super long arms, and I'm hoping he takes that step up to Colorado and can compete at the next level. Because if he can take that jump from Arkansas State up to Colorado, I think taking that jump from Colorado to the next level is going to be very easy for him. He's a really good athlete. He's got really good hands, and he's a big body guy. So I'm really excited to see him at Colorado and see Coach Prime turn that team around because they've got a lot of good athletes over there. So we'll see how they do this year. But I'm excited to see Teore, the tight end, play very well. So that's all I got for you guys today. If you enjoyed, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe. Go ahead and put down in the comments if there's any tight ends that I didn't put on this list that you think deserve a shot on here. And join us on Friday when we go over some wide receivers. So have a good day, guys. Peace.